After a brief break talking almost exclusively about the S25 Ultra, we're back once again to talk about the Oppo Find N5. Of course, this should be the sister device to the OnePlus Open 2, and today we are once again looking at a post that was made on Weibo by Oppo's official account, and this has some pretty interesting stuff to go through. So they posted not just this text, the countdown begins. Please ask the detectives to find the thinnest folding flagship in the world. See you in 2 weeks. They also attached this video, which we're going to kind of go through, and I pulled out some stills, which if you want to see them yourself in sort of more full quality, you are free to do that over on shanecraig.tech. I'll put a link to this article in the description down below. As you can see, we did get several fairly interesting looks at the Oppo Find N5. But for the video, what we're going to do is just sort of roll through what they showed in their teaser video. So it's kind of an interesting concept. So best I can tell, what we have are several social media influencers from the region. And they've sort of told them that they are detectives, they have a time limit, and they are in this room, and they're looking for the Oppo Find N5, and they are reacting to it. This is just good, solid marketing from Oppo. So here at the beginning, they do find the Oppo Find N3. This is the last gen model, and of course, this is basically exactly the OnePlus Open, and this is going to serve later as a good comparison between the two as they do continue looking for and eventually do find the Find N5. And I guess like the shtick here is that it's really thin, and so it can be hidden almost anywhere. Let me actually translate this really quickly. That's basically what I did. I watched this video with my phone with Google Translate, and I pointed it at things. And what you can see here that this says is it thin, but not enough? Try harder. So they've left these little hints around. And again, that's the shtick, is it's so thin, it could be hidden almost anywhere. So here, this is pretty interesting. We have another little clue being found, and this one says the total is 9.2 millimeters. Is that thin enough? No, it's not thin enough. And the reason that's interesting is because the Honor Magic V3, which is currently like maybe the thinnest device on the planet, 4.35 millimeters thick when it's opened. When it's closed is 9.2 or 9.3 millimeters. So what we're saying here is, and I think that that's dependent upon maybe like a finish, like a backing. Maybe there's like a leather backing or something like that. Adds a little bit of thickness, but still 9.2 millimeters. So this is maybe them taking a direct shot at Honor and saying, is 9.2 thin enough? No, it's not. We're going thinner than that. Eventually, they are able to spot the Oppo Find N5. It is actually in this clock serving as the minute hand. It's there vertically, and they actually pull the thing out, and there is the device. And we get, shortly after this, some of our first actual looks at the device, seeing exactly how thin it is. You can see there, it's a little bit out of focus, but my goodness, is that a thin device. Look at that. It's a little bit better in focus there. That is just insane. And that camera bar, we talked about this in an earlier video. It doesn't stick out as far as you would think, right? If you take the current OnePlus Open, which I happen to have right here, that camera bump looks to be very, very similar, maybe even thinner than on the OnePlus Open. But what's crazy is that the body of this new device is thinner than the body of this device. So that should, in theory, make the camera bump stick out further, but it just doesn't seem like that is what is happening. So this is very, very impressive. We get another look here, keep hitting the wrong key, at sort of the device being pulled out of this little display. And what you can see once again is that that USB-C port is basically the full thickness of the device. Completely insane. As this guy sort of whips the device around before they sort of censor it, you can actually get kind of a look at the crease on this device. It's very brief and it's very sort of minor, but it does look very, very similar to the crease on the current OnePlus Open or Oppo Find N3. Just something to quickly point out. At this point, we do get a look of the Oppo Find N3, that's the OnePlus Open, on top of the Find N5. So we get a really good look at sort of the dimensions of these two devices. And obviously notice that the Find N5 is significantly thinner. But also notice that it hangs off on the top and the bottom. This device does indeed appear to be larger. One of the things that a lot of us really liked about the Pixel 9 Pro Fold was that expanded screen size. It is slightly larger than the OnePlus Open. And that appears to be kind of what we're doing here. It's a device that is a little bit, not a huge amount, right? Not like a massive difference, but they are going a little bit bigger, and I like it. So after that, what we get is basically these influencers just sort of reacting to the device and saying how it's really thin and they really like it, so forth and so on. We can actually kind of see the bottom of the screen of the device a little bit, probably the taskbar down there, but I can't really make out anything else beyond that. And for the most part, when we're looking at the other side of the device, it is being censored, so we can't really see a whole lot. Here's one more look at that thickness with this individual holding it up and just reacting to how incredibly thin this device is. So again, we don't have like a full unveiling here by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that we are at least seeing a handful of new details. And if I jump us back over to the full article, I do want to quickly point out that, again, they did say, see you in 2 weeks. And this actually lines up with another post from someone who works for Oppo. I forget their title offhand, but if we translate this, they're saying that it is not only the thinnest in the world, but also the first global simultaneous release of our folding flagship, which is sold simultaneously in the world. See you in 2 weeks. So that's going to put us somewhere around February the 19th, February the 20th, something like that. And again, sold simultaneously in the world. Now, obviously, in North America, it's not going to be the Oppo Find N5. It will be, or it should be, the OnePlus Open 2. I can't imagine that's possibly going to be changing. But again, February the 20th sounds like the day. If somehow you've made it all the way to this video and you don't know exactly what the specs are rumored to be for this thing, we're looking at something that's going to be potentially less than 4.2 millimeters when opened, 50-watt wireless charging, 80-watt wired charging, a battery somewhere in the 5,500 milliamp hour range, which is absolutely bonkers for something this thin, a triple 50 megapixel camera setup that might actually be debuting something pretty cool, telephoto macro, IPX8 and X9 ratings, which means it's actually going to be able to survive high-pressure water jets, and it's a foldable. What are we even doing? And of course, the Snapdragon 8 Elite system on a chip, even though it might be using a slightly stripped-down version that's like got one core disabled for thermal reasons, which makes sense for something like this. And of course, as more news does come out, you're going to find it right here on this channel and also at ShaneCraig.tech. And I'm going to be purchasing the OnePlus Open 2, or whatever it's called when it arrives here. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to be purchasing one to review and cover exhaustively here on this channel as well. So get subscribed so you don't miss out on that, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.